On a lazy vacation morning, Erin and I stumbled into this antique mall, which you knew was gonna hit when it was playing this old-timey music on repeat. And in a little back corner, I stumbled upon this rack of old, small cookbooks, which I love to look through because it's always where you find the hidden gems. And this time around, I found this little hidden gem, a Pennsylvania Dutch cookbook that just spoke to my roots, and I had to go through, flip through the pages, and see if I recognized any of the recipes. And this cookbook has a lot in it, but today I'm showing you how to make a classic Dutch sticky bun, something I've never made before, but grew up eating from the Shrewsbury market. So let's get into this cookbook a little. I want to show you what it's got, all the hidden gems, and why I decided to bring it home, and why we landed on this recipe to make. I grew up in south central Pennsylvania, close enough to Lancaster where a little bit of that Pennsylvania Dutch feel kind of overflowed into our town. We would make trips up to Lancaster sometimes to see my grandma, who lived in Leola, and as I've gotten older, we make trips up there just to go to the shops, the little Amish markets, and to stop at Shady Maple. And if you've ever been up there, you'll know exactly what I mean, where it's like quiet, quaint, there's lots of jars and fresh baked goods, and there's really nothing like it. And that feeling was just kind of something normal to me. It was kind of wrapped into my everyday weeks growing up. Every Tuesday, my dad would go to market. It was this big indoor market, and he would pick up macaroni salad, maybe a pie, a whoopie pie, and that was just part of our everyday week. At school, we always had fausnachts day and would all get donuts. We always did that when I was in elementary school, and that was always something so fun to me. And at home, my mom is a big fan of buttered yolk noodles as a side dish, and even to this day, it's my favorite thing that's always on our Thanksgiving rotation. So let me tell you a little bit about this cookbook I found. One of the first things I noticed when I opened this cookbook in the store was right here at the top it says, "My Mom's Kraut and Chops," page 28, long ago before this book, and then it says, "Something to enjoy pork chops," and then it says November 1969. That's just such a cute little gem, and look at all of these details in here. And to start this video, I want to read a couple passages from this cookbook in the beginning for you that resonated so strongly with me, and I just think you need to hear this. "Remarkable, indeed, is the world for the Pennsylvania Dutch. Since 1683, when the first of their forebears migrated from the Rhinelands of South Germany to settle in and around what is now Lancaster County, these hardy people have become legendary for their industriousness, simplicity, and devotion to their religious beliefs. Largely farm folk, their lives revolve around home, family, and church. They shun worldly pleasures but enjoy the simple life in full measure. Typical of those who, quote, live off the land, these, quote, plain people have a deep appreciation for good food. The Pennsylvania Dutch House Voss reputation as a cook is world-renowned, and their recipes rank high among the gourmet masterpieces of the world's cookery. In times past, economy was a necessity. When the early settlers came from Europe, they had to adjust to simple foods. Additionally, many of these spices, condiments, and other ingredients for favorite dishes back home were in short supply, or in some cases unavailable in this new world. These conditions necessitated changes in old recipes and the creation of countless new ones to develop tasty dishes utilizing the plainer foods to be found locally. In Pennsylvania Dutch cookery, however, there are many sweets and sours, which more than atone for the lack of variety in salads. In the farm kitchen, almost everything goes into a pickle at one time or another. Eggs are pickled in red beet juice, cherries are brandied, watermelon rind is spiced, and corn is turned into relish. Pennsylvania Dutch cooking leaves much to the imagination. Recipes have been passed from generation to generation by word of mouth and in small traditional notes. Each cook knew some proportions by pinches and handfuls, and then added the, quote, sugar to sweeten, and, quote, enough flour to stiffen. The following recipes have all been standardized for your convenience and tested for your enjoyment. It is our pleasure to bring them to you. We hope you will find frequent use of this book and that many of the recipes will be included among your most favorite dishes. So for today's video, I'm making sticky buns. My godmother used to pick these up at the Shrewsbury market when I was a kid, and we would always fight over whether we should get them with or without nuts. And since I don't have to share these with any of them today, we're doing them with nuts. Either way, they would never last long in our household. There's something so special about recipes like this. They're not difficult, but they hold so much memory and history for so many different people. And I'm very excited to bring a little piece of that into the kitchen today. We're starting off with activating some yeast for the dough. So it says we need a quarter cup of 110-ish degree water. So I'm heating this up little by little, just in the microwave. And then, oh, it switched to Celsius. All right. This is a little too warm now, so we'll give it a sec. And then we're going to add in like a packet of dried yeast. I have the fancy little jar of it, so you do 2 1/4 teaspoons instead. 1, 2, 8, 9. We'll let her cook. Now we're going to do some milk and sugar action. I've never made sticky buns before. Are you shocked? Now it says 1 cup milk, comma, scalded. Okay. Also, it doesn't say what kind of milk. I don't think you can substitute oat in this modern day time. We got 2% in this house. I'm doing that until it's boiling. Then it says 3 tablespoons of sugar. Add milk to sugar and salt. Mix thoroughly and cool to lukewarm. Okay. The milk is scalded. Let's see. So now we're adding in 3 tablespoons of sugar. It says add the milk to the sugar. You know what? Do what you gotta do. The egg before the chicken, you know. Whatever works. And then it says half teaspoon of salt. Okay. Now we'll give her a good mix. And then it says to let this cool till it's lukewarm. So we'll get that nice and active. We'll let this cool. And then we basically just add flour. And that's the dough. So we let it rise, beat it back down, and then we're going to make the cinnamon buns. We'll make the filling. When I showed you the recipe has raisins, currants, and then it says citron, which this is what a citron looks like. I don't know where Pennsylvania Dutch people are getting citrons. They're definitely not native to the Pennsylvania area or anywhere near there. I don't even think they're native to I think they're a tropical fruit. But you could substitute that for like lemon. I think that's just to kind of give it a nice brightness to break up all the sugar. But I'm doing the sugar, cinnamon, and I'm doing nuts because I'm not getting currants and I don't like raisins are fine, but that's not for the masses. So we're gonna go with what we know, with our brain knows. Okay, they have doubled in size. I've added an extra little bit of brown sugar and the last bit of the pecans on top. Now we're gonna bake them in the oven at 375 for 20 to 25 minutes. And I'm hoping that they puff up a little bit. I always remember the ones from my childhood being taller, so that's why I got a little bit extra of an edge on here, so we'll see. When I first opened this book, I couldn't help but feel connected to it. So many of these recipes felt like home. The pork and sauerkraut we'd have every New Year's Day for good luck, the pickled pig's feet my mom used to threaten us with if we couldn't decide what to have for dinner, the fausnachts we got at school, and of course, the sticky buns. Golden, fluffy, and just begging for a little extra syrup on top. That passage I read earlier really stuck with me. It's exactly how I feel about cooking, and honestly, about life. Enjoying the simpler things, making the most of what you have, loving a good pickle, but seriously, focusing on the classics. Simple ingredients, made with care. That's what always makes the best food. And it's what always makes me happiest in the kitchen. For me, cooking has always been about taking care of others, showing love, and building community. And maybe that's just my Pennsylvania Dutch roots showing through. I hope you'll give this recipe a try, or tell me in the comments which one from this cookbook I should make next. And no, I'm not making pickled pig's feet. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe for more cozy food stories and a seat at the table. I'll see y'all at the table again soon. Bye!